When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. Persistence is very important. You should not give up, unless you are forced to give up. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket, as long as you control what happens to that basket. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. If you're co-founder or CEO, you have to do all kinds of tasks you might not want to do. If you don't do your chores, the company won't succeed. No task is too menial. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive, and determination of the people behind it as the product they sell. Talent is extremely important. It's like a sports team. The team that has the best individual player will often win, but then there's a multiplier from how those players work together and the strategy they employ. Really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. Hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "No. What's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. Disruptive technology, where you really have a big technology discontinuity, tends to come from new companies. If something has to be designed and invented, and you have to figure out how to ensure that the value of the thing you create is greater than the cost of the inputs, then that is probably my core skill.